Hi, and welcome to episode 5 of Art Like Everything Else, the podcast. Jumping right into the quote for this episode. So this quote comes from Tumblr user Morris Engel, and it reads, "And 4 years later, you're dancing around your kitchen with a pint of milk in your hand. The windows are open wide, the neighbors are still awake, and they are watching you. They are watching you fall in love with being alive." I thought this was a really lovely quote because they're doing something kind of mundane. Dancing in your kitchen with a glass of milk isn't something a lot of people would deem exciting, but the phrasing of them doing something so mundane, almost just so unexciting really, but it's still them falling in love with being alive. Just by them doing something that it's proof that they're alive and that they're here. And that I thought that was really, really sweet. So the topic of today's episode actually is finding solace or some peace in the mundane parts of life. Life's not always going to be this super high, thrill, super duper exciting type of roller coaster. It actually reminds me of this video of a different video that I was rewatching on YouTube recently. So a series on the Cracked YouTube channel. So I know a few episodes ago I talked about people watching another series on the Cracked YouTube channel that I enjoy. It's called After Hours. And this particular episode was called The Horrifying Truth About Living Inside a TV Show. So in that episode, they're kind of talking about what it would be like to exist in different types of TV shows. And the anxious and nervous nerdy character in the group said that he wanted to be on a show like The West Wing. And his friends were kind of you wouldn't be able to handle that though. You crack under pressure. Everything in that show is high stakes, and it's everything is really, really important. Everything's a matter of almost life and death, from being okay or total annihilation. And it was and after one day you'd be hiding under a desk. And kind of side note, I do think I probably wouldn't be able to live in a show like that either. If I had to pick a show, it'd probably be some nice little run-of-the-mill slice of life type of show. I don't think everyday excitement is for me personally, because if it's all day everyday excitement, when do you even get time to just rest? So I personally have already kind of found peace and and love the mundane, but I wanted to talk about it in general for this episode. Because listen, if my life was always some make or break type of thing every single day, I would be exhausted. If I had to be in any type of show right now, it would probably be some slice of life anime, where it's not high stakes. Maybe something Komi Can't Communicate. It's a series on Netflix, and all she's doing is she's going to school and trying to make friends. It's not life or death or anything. And I do love more exciting types of shows, but only for entertainment. That's it's not super serious. But for example, my favorite anime of all time is One Piece. But do you think I would want to live in One Piece? Absolutely not. Are you out of your mind? So for those who watch the show, you know why. But for those who don't, it's about a pirate crew going on these adventures to ultimately find this ultimate treasure left behind by the King of the Pirates. There's so many cool and unique islands. It's really fun to watch. I wouldn't want to live there though. It seems stressful. And I do think the beauty of life is kind of just being able to exist and enjoy those mundane parts. Because something I was actually talking to my friend about earlier when we were kind of having a conversation that led to this episode, was your life is likely going to be far more of these mundane days than it will be those super duper exciting days. So it is better to make peace and maybe even find a little joy in the mundane, because kind of like how I mentioned even in the previous episode on this podcast, these mundane days can often be a refuge from the excitement and possible even the harder days one might experience in their lifetime. It reminds me of something said in Rick and Morty. There's an episode of Rick and Morty, season 3, episode 3, called Pickle Rick, where Rick turns himself into a pickle. There's a part of this episode at the end where Rick is in therapy with his family, and something the therapist said stuck out to me. The therapist said to Rick, "The thing about repairing, maintaining, and cleaning is it's not an adventure. There's no way to do something so wrong you might die. It's just work. And some people would rather go to work, and some people would rather die." That quote felt very relevant, because there's a lot of days where life will just be repairing, maintaining, and cleaning. It won't always be super exciting. It'll be work. It's not good work, and it's not like bad work. It's just work. A lot of life is going to be that work, and I think it's really important that we find peace with that. Last episode, I talked about finding those little things to be joyful about in life. Being able to do what might do that, like just being able to do that might help, so that it makes it easier for you to fall in love with life as well. For example, I don't like washing dishes, but I like being done with washing dishes. So that's how I've been able to make peace with that little bit of maintenance that I know I have to do daily. Finding peace or solace in the mundane definitely helps to make life more bearable. The more I do it, the more I find myself that I am falling more and more in love with being alive. Now for our closeout, I'll be reading a quote from Tumblr user Ursula Clegay. It is spelled URSULAKLEGAY. And the quote reads, "Actually, I love growing older and learning how I work as a person, like realizing what kinds of fabrics feel best on my skin, or what kind of yogurt I like best, or how I want to be touched. Watching myself change, enjoying Brussels sprouts when I used to hate them as a child, understanding why I got angry in that one conversation 10 years ago. There are so many mysteries inside me that I have yet to unravel, and there will always be more, and sometimes I think maybe it's all worth it." I thought that was a beautiful post, because I agree, and I am the same way. I think a part of finding this solace in the mundane, and even with finding the little joys, is getting to know what things you like and how you function, and why you do the things that you do. Growing older, finding the things you like, getting to indulge in those things, is part of what makes living all worth it. But yeah, that's actually all I have for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.